The single most important thing in my mind was the United States saying we're going to set up the strategic Bitcoin reserve.
Yeah.
I think people are drastically underestimating how maniacal they are going to be about buying Bitcoin.
As the Bitcoin price continues to consolidate in this downward trend, leaving many individuals to wait to buy for fear of price going lower, it's very interesting that U.S. institutions, meaning BlackRock, meaning Fidelity, their clientele have started to buy again. We have seen 5 consecutive days in a row of inflows for United States Bitcoin ETFs. And with Donald Trump signing the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Executive Order a few weeks ago.
Today we're signing, this is very historic, an executive order establishing a Strategic Bitcoin Reserve and digital asset stockpile.
That the United States will keep and hold their over 200,000 Bitcoin that they already have. Most people don't realize that yes, we could dip lower in the short term. I don't know what the Bitcoin price will do tomorrow, and neither do you. But long term, the US's Bitcoin strategy has just begun. Anthony Pompliano explains.
Everyone thinks it's cute that they put 200,000 Bitcoin over here and now we have this reserve. They are going to continue to buy Bitcoin, and they are going to buy as much as they possibly can because there's a global race going on. Russia, Abu Dhabi, El Salvador, Bhutan, all these other countries are trying to buy Bitcoin. We are going to beat them there. And we now have a president and an administration that is fully focused on that. And so the same way that there was a space race, there's now a Bitcoin race. And that Bitcoin race is how many coins can we go ahead and get?
And Austin, how do you know the US has further plans to actually buy Bitcoin? This interview just happened. Listen to Donald Trump's executive director of digital assets, Bo Hines, explain.
And I didn't get to ask it, but I'm going to ask you now. You've mentioned, and I'm sure you've had this question before, budget neutral ways to potentially buy Bitcoin down the line. Can you give me an example of a budget neutral way you may be thinking of?
I mean, there's a lot of high IQ people working on this, and I will give you an example, but I say that only to say that there's been countless ideas over the course of the last week or so, and it's in a sense of how we can actually accomplish this. I'll actually point you to Senator Lummis's Bitcoin Act of 2025, in which she believes that we can identify the real true value of some of these gold certificates that are, you know, basically, I think it's like $172 an ounce is what they're categorized at right now. And if we actually realize the gains on that, that would be a budget neutral way to acquire more Bitcoin. I mean, there's countless different ways you can do it. I know the Secretary of Treasury, Bessent, and the Secretary of Commerce with Howard Lutnick. I mean, they're going to come up with, I mean, these are smart people that understand this space really well. And as we convene as a working group, we'll flesh out the best ideas and we'll enact those ideas.
Pay attention to the signals. The United States is not settling on one idea. They are suggesting that they may sell their gold reserves to buy more Bitcoin, but whether it happens that way or another budget-neutral way, this will happen.
Theoretically, could you sell some of the gold in Fort Knox to buy Bitcoin? Can we? Is that possible?
Well, if it's budget neutral and doesn't cost the taxpayer a dime,
you're kind of exchanging one for the other.
We'll see whatever creative ideas that we can come up with. And, you know, like I said, with all the interagency working group actors that will convene in these meetings, I mean, we're going to hear some tremendous ideas about how we could do it. I just don't want to box us in yet to what that actually looks like, because I want to be able to hear from everybody. And I think that's one thing that's different about this White House is we welcome in new ideas.
And by the way, other countries are taking notice of the United States' Bitcoin strategy. Deutsche Bank says now that a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve could set international standards, meaning if the U.S. is doing it, other prominent countries best not get left behind. And case in point, hit the like button, subscribe to Altcoin Daily. We bring you this information first, so you're in the know as a crypto investor. But head of the ECB, European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, is urging action. A Euro central bank digital currency better launch by October 2025. She is rallying the European elites to get it done by this date.
The deadline for us is going to be October of 25, and we are getting ready for that deadline, but we will not be able to move unless the other parties, the stakeholders as I call them, Commission, Council and Parliament, actually complete the legislative process, without which we will not be able to move. And I think it is critically important, and it seems to the agnostic or the skeptics, it seems to be more relevant and more of an imperative now than ever before, both on the wholesale and on the retail level, both.
Of course, this strategy is still cryptocurrency, still blockchain, but very different from the United States strategy, as Bitcoin is permissionless. It's decentralized. A central bank digital currency is permissioned. It's centralized. It allows the government to control the digital cash. Now let's talk about what's next for Ethereum, what's next for Solana and altcoins. But understanding all that the United States' Bitcoin strategy has really just only begun, where could that put price of Bitcoin in the future?
So the price right now, what is it? We got it on the screen, 84,000. Where conceivably could this thing go?
Well, it depends on the time frame, right? I think
based on all that demand.
Yeah, there's tons of people who have all these crazy predictions for what's going to happen in 2025 or 2026. I always say remove the time frame for a second. And if you look at something like gold used to be worth a couple dollars, and tens of dollars, hundreds of dollars. Now it's worth thousands of dollars. Bitcoin, same thing. And I think that Bitcoin one day will be millions of dollars. The question is, what is that time frame? Is that a 5-year exercise or is that a 15-year exercise? And so, I'll leave the predictions to somebody else, but I do think that you have an asset that is finite. It is sound money principles in a digital form. I don't know any single asset in the world where the digital version is not more valuable than the analog version. And so if gold is 20 trillion, Bitcoin should be worth more than 20 trillion at some point. It's just, how do we get there and what does that time frame look like?
And looking at what's next for Ethereum and the spot Ethereum ETFs. Spot Ethereum ETFs hit a record 12-day losing streak, with 9 US funds losing $370 million, meaning BlackRock and Fidelity clients continue to sell Ethereum, even though assets under management for these ETF issuers are still in the multi-billions. So in total, they've been a big success. Versus the amount of inflows for the Bitcoin ETFs, Ethereum ETFs sort of look like a dud. But other channels won't share this with you. I will. That this is coming right from BlackRock's representative. That Ethereum ETFs, compared to non-crypto ETFs, traditional ETFs, were a tremendous success and will be even more perfect when staking is finally allowed.
Yeah, well, I think there's a little bit of a misconception out there that the ETH ETFs have been meh. And the truth is that, take ETHA, for example, iShares Ethereum Trust, had $4 billion in inflows in its first 6 months. The number of ETFs historically who have had more than that is a very short list. But when you compare it to IBIT and the Bitcoin ETF complex generally, it doesn't look that amazing. When you compare it to the actual ETF universe, it's actually been incredibly successful. There's no question it's less perfect for ETH today without staking, right? That staking yield is a meaningful part of how you can generate investment return in this space. And all the ETFs, of course, at launch did not have staking. So if that is able to get resolved.
And how many of you heard about this? This is pretty interesting news for Solana. Solana Mobile has announced their Web3 integrated mobile device, Seeker, has entered the testing phase, and shipping should start summer of 2025. Will you buy Solana's new smartphone? This is it. Probably like any other smartphone, but more crypto compatible. And in very quick, low cap altcoin gaming news, market got you bored? Put your assets to work with our rewards program. This is from Xborg. They provide the player identity layer protocol for crypto gaming. They're already working with multiple major esports teams, and this is what they're offering you, the gaming community, starting now. 1 million XBG monthly rewards, no token locks, partner token airdrops, meaning other projects will airdrop to you too if you partake in Season 7, and up to 150% APY, I believe, if you stake. Actually, all the details are right on their website. And this is then the rewards pool that's available to you or the participants every single month. Hit the like button if you got value in today's video. I would appreciate it. And like always, see you tomorrow.